All right, what's up, everybody? So in today's lecture, we are going to learn about adjectives. Adjectives are fun because they make the world a lot better. You have a lot more description, you get to know things a lot more, and we are going to check out this presentation. It's a Prezi actually, and it is by Mr. Taylor. We're just borrowing it, and I will leave the link below the video if you need it. All right, so there we are. Adjectives. What are adjectives? Well, adjectives are dandy. That's I think that flower is a dandelion. I think that's what it's called. But which means that they're cool, right? They're happy, they're nice. What are adjectives really? Adjectives, an adjective is a word used to describe a noun or a pronoun, or to give a noun or a pronoun more specific meaning. Okay, so basically, for example, if we say the boy ran, okay, or the boy is running, well, we don't know really much about the boy, right? But if I say the tall boy is running, then you have more information about how that boy looks like, right? So remember that a noun is a name of a place, a person, or a thing. For example, the phone, right? The phone, okay? So the phone is a noun because it's a thing. What kind of phone is this one? It's an Apple. Okay, so in this case, Apple, even though it's a brand, it's not really an adjective, it's describing the phone. So we say, okay, well, it's an iPhone. That would be a description of the type of phone it is. In our case too, when we're talking about adjectives, it is the same thing. We are using words that describe, that add to the description of a place, a person, or a thing. Does that make sense to everyone that's here? How are we doing? Any questions so far? Preguntas, dudas, algo? No? Okay. So if you want to know which word in the sentence is the adjective, you have to ask the question, what kind? Okay. And you put that into that sentence too. So you can answer the question, what kind, which one, how many, how much. These are all questions that help modify a noun. So for example, if I say the tall or the big bucket is full, you can say what kind or which bucket is full. The answer would be the big bucket. So the answer to that question is the adjective. Does that make sense? So when you do have an adjective, you can ask the question, what kind? Okay, so for example, the red car is fast. You can say, which car is fast? The answer would be the red car. So red is the adjective because it tells you what kind of car it is or which car it is. Yeah? Does that make sense? For example, another example is the psychology book is really hard to read. I can say, which kind of book is really hard to read? So I put the entire sentence back into the question with the exception of the answer to what kind. So what kind of book is too hard to read? The answer would be the psychology book is too hard to read. Does that make sense? Questions, you guys? Yeah? So quickly, to recap in Spanish, adjective is un adjetivo, ¿ok? Y da más, como más descripción de la palabra, ¿ok? So a noun es el nombre de un lugar, de una persona o una cosa. So un adjetivo da la descripción de esa nombre, ¿ok? So for that name. Any question? Any questions? No? Okay, moving on. Okay, so how do you know which, it's really hard to read. If someone in the class can turn off maybe one of the lights, that would be good. Yeah, if you can do that, thank you. So how do we know which word in the sentence? Thank you, Anna. You want to turn off one more? Turn both of them off? Okay, there we go. Yeah. All right, now everybody can read. You who are, if you're watching the video, you can read. If you are in class, then you can read as well. So that's good. All right. How do we know in the sentence which words are adjectives? Typically, they have an ending. So it has a suffix as the ending of a word that is like able or able. So so if a word ends in like able or able or al or ik or ish or if, us, right, or why, it's typically an adjective. So if you see any of these endings, then it is an adjective. Also, you can change a lot of words to adjectives by adding these endings. So for example, to predict is a verb, right? Predict is a verb. Prediction, the prediction is a noun. If we want to make it into an adjective, then we can say predictable. Okay, so we change the ending. Yeah. So if you see that ending or any of these endings that are there, make sure you take those into notes. Make sure you write those down if you need to. But if you see any of these endings, then it is an adjective. Okay. All right. So here are some examples of adjectives. Tall, right? A tall is a description of a place, a person, or a thing. So for example, we can say the giraffe is tall, right? Or the giraffe has a tall neck. In this case, we are describing the neck of the giraffe. Okay, we can say the Eiffel Tower is really tall. All right, so you can use that for places, for people, for things, for animals, and so forth. Okay, so here's our tall giraffe. Purple, yellow, blue, these are all adjectives because they describe something. They add to the descriptions. Yes, it's a color, but that color can't stand on its own. So you can't say the blue. That doesn't make sense. The purple doesn't make sense. You have to add a noun to it. The blue car, the purple jacket, the yellow cup. Okay, so you can't have it by itself. That it won't stand, right? It's not a name of a place, a person, or a thing. It is a description. Okay. Even when, by the way, even when we're talking about color, we can say the blue color, right? Or the color blue. Yeah. So even then, it would still not be a noun. And other ones or other few ones are adorable, cute, white, small, fluffy. These are all things that are describing this picture, right? These are cute little dogs. They're adorable. They're white. They're small. They're fluffy. All these things are descriptions of these dogs. So can anyone give me a sentence using one of these words to describe the dogs? ¿Alguien puede darme una oración con esas palabras para esa imagen? The puppies are adorable. Exactly. That's a great one. Anyone else? The white dogs are running. The white dogs are running. Yeah. The fluffy dogs are together. Yeah? Awesome. Okay. Sparkly. Sparkly is another one of the adjectives. Okay. Things that sparkle. I love sparkly things. Cool. And notice here, by the way, notice the Y at the end. Okay. Notice the able at the end. The Y at the end of fluffy. So adjectives they don't always end with these. Oh, let me go back to them. Oof. One more. One more. Okay. They don't always end with these suffixes, but if you see them, they like that, they can be. So for example, small doesn't end with any of this stuff. Big doesn't end with any of this stuff, but other words that end like this are for sure adjectives. Okay, we're gonna skip really quickly. Oops, too much. Too much. Okay, so here's our back to sparkly. All right, sparkly is another one of our adjectives. Let's check out this video. The volume doesn't work here. Is that what it is? Okay, let's see. Okay, so the volume is up on this one. Now the volume is up on my screen. Let's try this again.
Adjectives are often used to help us compare things, to say how thin, how fat, how short, how tall. Girls who are tall get taller, boys who are small get smaller, till one is the tallest and one is the smallest of all. We hiked along without care, then we ran into a bear. He was a hairy bear, he was a scary bear. We beat a hasty retreat from his lair and describe him with adjectives. That was one big ugly bear. You can even make adjectives out of the other parts of speech, like verbs and nouns. All you have to do is tack on an ending, like ish or hair. For example, this boy can grow up to be a huge man, but still have a boyish face. Boy is a noun, but the ending ish makes it an adjective. Boyish. That describes the huge man's face. Get it? Next time you go on a trip, remember this little tip. The minute you get back, then let's give this a nap. You can describe people, places, and things. Simply unpack your adjectives. You can do it with adjectives. Tell me about it with adjectives. You can shout it with adjectives.
What do you guys think? Was it cute? Did you like the video? Yes. People, talk to me. Why don't you love me? People in the class don't love me, you guys. If you're watching the video, please love me. These guys over here, they don't love me. Okay, so I'm sad. The video is really cute. I thought the video was cute. Anyways, so those are adjectives. You can take nouns and turn them into adjectives to describe something, right? By adding any of the endings. And yeah, the bear was big and scary and hairy. So that's that. All right. What are other types of adjectives that we have? Well, articles. So you have the, for example, is an adjective, right? So the most common type of adjective, sometimes considered its own separate category, which would be a definite article in this case, is the, all right, which is used to refer to a specific noun, and indefinite article, a or an. So these are also articles that are used or are sometimes seen as adjectives. Now, a lot of times they have their own category, and that would be articles, definite and indefinite articles. But for the most part, they can also be considered adjectives because it gives us more information about the noun, right? If we say book, we don't know if we're talking about one book, we're talking about a specific book. But when we say the book, we know we're talking about a specific book. When we are saying a book, we're talking about any one book, right? So that gives us a bit more explanation. However, for the most part, they are used as, they are known as articles and not adjectives, but they are also adjectives. Then you have nouns that can be used as adjectives. Okay, so for example, snack food. Snack is its own word, it's its own noun. But when we use it to describe the type of food, then we use it as an adjective. So in this case, the snack is an adjective because it's describing food, right? Ring on its own is as a noun. Finger on its own is a noun, but ring finger, this one over here, that would be an adjective and a noun, right? So ring finger. Okay, so it's describing the kind of finger it is. Okay, does that make sense? Yes, questions, doubts, anything? All right, my people who are watching, you can leave your comments in the comment box below or on the side or wherever the comment box is these days. Just do that. Okay. All right, then we have proper adjectives. And a proper adjective is a proper noun used as an adjective or an adjective formed from a proper noun. For example, Greek restaurant. Greek, we know that Greek is a proper noun. And can anyone tell me what's a proper noun? Restaurant is a noun, but it's a common noun. Does anyone know what a proper noun is? It's okay if no, you can say no. They could be places, but they are official names of something. So for example, Rita, my name, that is a proper noun. Okay, Greek or Greece, right? Or France or United States, these are all proper nouns. The Statue of Liberty, that is a proper noun, okay? So the title of a book would, also be considered proper noun. Yeah, even though it's a book, okay? So in this case, Greek, we know that Greek is a proper noun by itself, but here Greek is describing the type of restaurant. So what kind of restaurant is it? It is a Greek restaurant. Okay, so there we know that Greek is now being used as an adjective because it answers the question, what kind? Bostonian accent, okay? Boston is a place and it is a proper noun, but here we are using it to describe the accent. So we can ask, what kind of accent is she speaking in? We can answer, she is speaking in a Bostonian accent, which means that Bostonian here is used as an adjective. Okay? Yeah? Yeah. Awesome. Then we have compound adjectives. These are adjectives that are made up of more than one word. Saber-toothed tiger. Yeah, these are saber is by itself, tooth is by itself, but together they form an adjective describing the tiger. What kind of tiger? It's a saber-toothed tiger. Bedtime story. Bed is a word by itself. Time is a word by itself, but together, bedtime story, then it becomes the adjective, right? So bed and time are two independent words that are put together, and it's called a compound adjective. In this case, when we're using it as an adjective. There are also compound nouns. Does that make sense? Yes? No? Maybe? How we feeling? All right. And then we have the pronouns that are used as adjectives. Remember in the other video, in the other lecture that we did a few weeks ago, or if you're watching the video, it's the video right before this one in the series. We talked about possessive adjectives, right? And we talked about, we didn't talk about demonstrative adjectives, but we did talk about possessive adjectives that show that something belongs to you. My car describes the kind of car it is. So whose car is it? It's my car. Okay. Which notebook? All right. So in this case, when we have possessive, my, your, his, her, these are all possessive adjectives. So they are still adjectives. They describe a noun, but they are also pronouns that are used as adjectives. Does that make sense to everybody that's here? Yeah, cool. Everyone online, again, you can feel free to comment below. All right, then we have demonstrative adjectives, this, that, these, those, and we will talk about those more in other videos. I know this is still level 1, so I know it's a lot, so we'll talk about these ones later, but it is good to know that these are part of the adjectives. Okay, comparative or superlative adjectives, these show a comparison between two things. They show either like an increased level or a decreased level, or something is better. So for example, this water is the best water I've had. Best is a superlative adjective because best is saying like it's the top, right? Or if I say this is the worst water I've had, it is then the bottom, right? So it's either the top or the bottom. Or comparative would be this water is better than the other water that I was drinking yesterday. Okay, so that's comparative. I know it's a lot. We will talk about these things in details. If you're watching online, we will have videos that will explain every single one of these concepts later. Okay, so comparative would be richer, uglier, more beautiful. Superlative would be richest, ugliest, and most beautiful. All right.
Positive, comparative, and superlative of adjectives.
Okay.
We use adjectives to compare people and things. With short adjectives, this is mainly done by adding ER and EST. He is tall. He is taller than his brother. He is the tallest in the class. With short words, we simply add ER and EST. In front of longer adjectives, more and most are used. She is beautiful. She is more beautiful than I remember. Jane is the most beautiful girl in the competition. Remember, Y at the end of adjectives changes to I. He is happy. I am happier. She is the happiest person I know. However, we have some exceptions. Here are some common irregular adjectives. Good, better, best. Bad, worse, worst. Little, less, least. many, more, most. For example, his new car is bad. The old one was worse. The car he borrowed was the worst.
All right. Cool. Oop. And that brings us to the end of our, oh, don't do that. Don't do that. All right, let's stop sharing this. All right. So that brings us to the end of our presentation from our PowerPoint. If you do have any questions, make sure you ask. You guys are free to ask here. If you are in class, if you're not in class and you're watching this later, you can also type the questions down in the comment box below or find a way to contact me if you are in one of my classes. If you haven't done so yet, make sure to subscribe to the channel so that we can you can see the new videos. See you next time.